Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to another news video. Today you might be wondering what was in the patch. There was a small patch this morning for 6.48. Now, this particular patch, if you're interested in PvP, stick around. If you're not, pretty much there was nothing else in it. There was a couple of bug fixes, that's about it. So in terms of what's in the patch then, no content, like no battle content, nothing like that. Just strictly PvP changes and a few bug fixes. Let's get straight to it then. So for PvP, they've made some adjustments. This is all in lieu of the new season starting, the ranked season for PvP, obviously. And they are actually working on bigger updates than this scheduled for the expansion, but of course, and for obviously later seasons. But of course, we have ourselves the regional finals. EU FanFest at London will be the finalists of that competition, so there'll be very little changes, but there are obviously some potency changes here. So, for Paladin, Blade of Faith and Blade of Truth have changed. Their potency has increased. We've got 6,000 on Blade of Faith and 7,000 now on Blade of Truth. This seems like a good choice. A lot of the changes are going to be potency based, and there's going to be very little else. For Gunbreaker, Draw and Junction, action can now be used to target a self and party members. The additional effect, Powder Barrel, will only be granted when targeting an enemy. This is actually quite useful. Black Mage then changes. Soul Resonance now grants the effect Apocastasis. So if you, obviously you're going to benefit from that. You're going to gain Apocastasis through Soul Resonance. White Mage then, we've got Miracle of Nature changing. This time it's had its recast time increased. So this is a little bit of a nerf by 5 seconds, up from 25 to 30 seconds. I guess it was a little bit strong. I'm not sure. This is all balancing. Afflatus Purgation, the cure potency of a regen effect granted by Temperance, has been reduced also from 4,000 to 3,000. So White Mage has seen a little bit of a nerf then. But again, if you've done any of the ranked Crystalline Conflict recently or PvP in general, you will know that White Mages absolutely dominate. Astrologian then, Aspected Benefic. Cure potency of Diurnal Benefic has been increased from 1,000 to 2,000 potency. That's huge. That's a double potency increase. Effect duration of Diurnal Benefic has been increased from 12 to 15 seconds. Another great buff. And barrier potency of Nocturnal Benefic has been increased from 4,000 to 5,000. So Astros, if you weren't using Astro before, you might want to give that a go. All in all, that's all of the changes, right? So as much as we have 19 jobs, that's the only ones that seem to be affected by this, unless there's some undocumented changes. Of course, there sometimes is, but I think it's fairly positive. White Mages were pretty strong, nice balancing changes. Astro needed a buff, and the other changes are quite nice, quality of life. It also says to prevent players from accidentally disabling the common action guard when repeatedly pressing the action button, the time until it can be manually disabled has been increased from 1 to 2.5 seconds. The time until other actions can be disabled has not been changed. So again, more quality of life to protect you as a player from accidentally doing something. Crystalline Conflict as a whole then, as we said, Season 8 begins today. With Season 7's ending, the top 100 ranking players from every data center will receive vouchers via the Moogle delivery service, and players finishing in Bronze tier or higher can claim rewards by speaking with the seasonal quartermaster at the Wolf's Den Pier. And you can obviously click a link in here for the rewards section. It says tier rewards for Season 7 must be claimed before the end of Season 8. Obviously, make sure you do those within the next couple of months. And it says players will begin Season 8 5 risers lower than the rank of which they started Season 7. So if you're rising stars reset to 0. So if you're up high, you're going to be down low. Depending on how far you got, you might probably still be starting in bronze anyway, like myself. I didn't really do much last season. I might try and do some this season. It might be a good idea. So also, additionally, to help people out, the Commendation Quartermaster NPC has been moved to X 4.5, Y 6.2 on the Wolf's Den Pier. This is actually right up, I think this is inside the actual boat next to like a kiosk. It makes more sense for it to be with the other vendors. I don't know why it wasn't there to begin with. I wish they would do this with the disreputable priest as well. It would be nice to see if they got their own alcove instead of being outside in the rain next to a boat, but there we go. A couple of changes then. System change. The division of Radzat Han into multiple instances for alleviating congestion in 6.4 has been removed. So this also... it doesn't really affect much. It's not like Favnir was split into multiple zones anyway. So, yeah, this doesn't affect hunts or anything like that. But at least you will see somebody, you know, if they're in Radzat Han on your server, you'll see them, as opposed to being split into multiple instances, which is nice. And then there's the resolved issues, the only stuff they actually talk about, because it does say other various issues have been addressed, which means usually game-breaking fixes and things like that. It says the following issues. An issue in the first phase of the Omega Protocol Ultimate, wherein players who have successfully removed the Looper status effect with the tower mechanic would erroneously take damage when re-entering the tower. I read about this, actually, yeah. So they fixed that, and other minor text issues have also been addressed. So there was text issues. What's not mentioned here, which I thought probably will be in here, but they've not mentioned it, there was a bug with the Hildebrand questline where essentially the wrong music plays. It's very noticeable. I'm not going to spoil it by saying what part that happens. See if you can find out which it is, but presumably that got addressed as well, although they've not documented it, or they might have forgotten to list it here. That might also be the case. But yeah, the Omega Protocol Ultimate thing was quite entertaining, seeing people basically get hit twice by that, but apparently that's been fixed, and people who know, and people who don't know, don't. And that's it, that's 6.48. The next major patch, obviously, is going to be not for a very long time. We have ourselves 6.5 Part 1 in presumably, right, October, isn't it? Something like that. And then we've got another part of 6.5 in January. So until then, we have some events on the 10th of this month. So in 2 days from the recording of this video, we have the brand new Moonfire Fair event with a new Kamen Rider or Power Rangers, depending on how you look at it, inspired superhero suit. And I do know that the jumping puzzle's back as well, which is all the hype. Anyway, much love. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully this video helped scratch the itch if the question was what was in the patch. And if you did well in Season 7, hopefully Season 8 goes well for you as well. Much love. Link in the description for all of this information. And happy PvP. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.